Do you like movies and games also? Listen, so much more they all know. Vice, Pyro, Lotus, and friends. Welcome to Corrective Consciousness.
Welcome to Corrective Consciousness episode 69, dudes! The
Nice.
podcast about our lives and love of pop culture. I'm your host, VyseTheBold, and this is...
Lotus Prince.
And PyroJackFrost.
Oh man, the weed number.
Yes, that's what that number is.
Yeah, if you say so.
No, that's 420.
Yes.
So anyway.
We have a while to go to get there.
But yeah, we have another wonderful show for you with the OG3. Why don't you get us going, Pyro?
All right, so I've really just been doing more of the usual, playing my phone game, Grand Blue Fantasy, playing some Battle Chasers here and there, and playing some Destiny. Actually, today I just hit level 20, which is the max level, and I only have 2 more missions left to beat the game, but there's still probably quite a bit of content I need to do. So I don't know if either of you have played Destiny 1 or heard about Destiny and how
I played
the levels
Destiny
go.
1.
I know very little about it.
So the max level is level 20, but really your real level is what's called your power or light level, and that's basically the average level of your equipment. So in terms of my light level, I'm about like 190.
Okay.
And the max is 305-ish before it starts really getting hard to level it up anymore. So even though I'm basically done with the game proper, I still have quite a ways to go before I feel like I'm actually done with it. Because then there's also there's patrols and strikes, which are other side content. There's like side missions. I still need to get my third subclass, I guess you could say, for my class. I need to I think I'm going to unlock motorbikes soon. Well, not motorbikes, called Swallows. They're like the air speeders from Star Wars.
Basically like swoop bikes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, the speeders.
Yeah.
I've really been wanting to play this, but I feel like I just don't have anybody to play it with. And I just don't know what to do.
So
I'm like stagnant on it.
I would say that, one, if you're playing on PC, I'd be glad to play with you. I wouldn't mind going through the missions again.
Oh, okay.
And 2 is it's actually not that bad to get through missions by yourself. I've done most of the missions solo. And the good thing about it is you can jump in and jump out of missions with friends. So if you were playing the missions and I noticed you were on, and maybe I finished whatever I was doing, I could just say, "Hey Andrew, I'm joining you," and just jump in
Sure.
your mission and help you out there if I need to. And it's pretty. I think it's pretty fun. I say if you have time, that's the other thing. If you have other games you want to play, you might want to do those first, because it's not really a commitment, and I would say this is actually less of a commitment than most MMOs. Like when I play Final Fantasy XIV, whenever that ends up being again, it's a little bit more of a time commitment, I feel, than Destiny, because
I would say that it's less of one because you're not limited. Like you're not thinking, oh, I need to play this to get my money's worth out of my subscription this month. You know.
That's one. The other thing I feel is that with Final Fantasy, you need to level up to basically get all the stuff that you want. Granted, you can't do as much damage with Destiny if you don't have good equipment, but your skill level will will improve, obviously, but you can be really good at the game and be a level 1. I think I saw people beat the whole game already without, like, at light level 1 or whatever, like the lowest you could be.
Okay.
So
Gotcha.
It's all possible. It's just gets more difficult depending on if you're lower equipment. But yeah, feel free to, if you do have time to play it and you do decide to, let me know. Friend me on Battle.net, and I'll just jump in every now and then when you're doing missions.
Yeah, I've been playing more games lately, or been trying to, because like I feel like I don't know. I feel like I'm more at ease when I get my gaming time in. You know what I mean? Like, pull off some steam. So
Yeah.
I feel like like I should be playing a little bit more than I have.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I've been meaning to, like, talking about that. I've been meaning to get back into Final Fantasy XIV because I have been paying for it for like the past 3 months and played it maybe one day out of those 90 days that I paid for. But it's just tough with, you know, being adults and juggling life and other games. I feel like one day this week I should just jump in and play that for the day or whatever. But the other game that I played and almost beat is the game that you mentioned, actually, Vice, last week, the new Mega 10 game.
Yeah, I'm really happy that I was able to, like, tell you about that. It makes me happy.
So I found it kind of fun. It's actually kind of interesting because it has a little bit of a what's that shooter with light and dark?
Ikaruga?
Ikaruga. It has like an Ikaruga vibe because the two characters you have are PyroJack and JackFrost, who are fire and ice, respectively. And some enemies shoot fire and ice attacks, and you can... the fire guy blocks fire damage, but is weak to ice, and vice versa for the ice guy. And a lot of bosses have, like... I wouldn't call it bullet hell, but almost bullet hell patterns, so you have to keep switching back and forth between them to dodge the attacks.
That's fun.
And then attack them. So I've gotten through all of the game except for the final boss, and the final boss I find is kind of annoying because all the bosses before that were had easy to dodge patterns, I guess you could say. You knew what attacks they were going to do, you knew how to dodge those attacks, etc. I feel like the final boss seems to be a little bit more chaotic to me. Granted, I've only played him twice because I basically had to go to bed the second when I died the second time, and I didn't play him enough. I'm pretty sure I'll pick up his pattern, but it's also more annoying because he has two forms, and I feel like I'm not good enough at the game, let's say, to get through the first form without taking a lot of damage. So the final form just I struggle on the final form because of that.
Well, I think it's definitely worth it. Like for as a free game, it's like
but yes,
pretty
definitely
good.
I played it for a few hours for a free game. I think that's really good.
Yeah, like I thought it was really like it's better than some like Metroidvanias that I've paid for.
Mm-hmm.
It has like some new ideas that I haven't seen implemented, and like I didn't think it was like janky or anything like it.
No,
it
it played
good.
really well. Yeah, and as I was playing, I kept feeling that I hope that this is a thing. Like not the free game, but that they branch out into more than just regular RPGs, because I really enjoy their works. I mean, it could just be that I'm biased and a fanboy, but I feel like if they made another a more in-depth, let's say Metroidvania, or if they actually had a third-person shooter called Mach X for Dreamcast I never got a chance to play, and I kind of, no matter how much I love the RPGs that they make, I kind of would like them to branch out a little bit and make a non-RPG type game.
Yeah, I actually have a remake of that on PS2 that was only released in Europe. It's called Maken Shao.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, is that the Maken game?
Yeah.
Yes.
That's SMT?
Yep.
Whoa,
Yeah,
okay. I had no idea.
Yeah, it's same artist at least, right?
I think it's the
is
same.
It related?
I don't know how related it is, but it is in the series, you could say.
Okay.
It is a Mega 10 game.
Yeah, maybe you can come over and play it sometime. When
Definitely.
we're playing some funky import games, because it's a pretty fun game. They heavily censored the original Dreamcast version when they brought it to the States, because you fight like the Space Pope at the end, like any other like
any other
Mega 10 game. But like you fight some kind of religious figure at the end of almost every game I can think of. But in Maken Shao, I think it was restored. So
nice.
They went from first person in the original version to third person in the remake. So maybe we'll get a chance to play the remake sometime.
That makes me think of Baroque, of all things in the world. It's like the original Japanese PS1 and Saturn releases were first person, but the first I had ever heard of it was when they first localized it to the West, which was the third-person PS2 and Wii game.
Yeah, I tried to play that game, but my disc
broke.
wasn't working.
Yeah.
It was Baroque.
If it isn't Baroque,
Yeah.
Fix it.
Sweet Disney Beauty and the Beast joke.
anyway.
Yeah.
But no, I mean that's basically been my week. Just playing lots of the same games that I've been playing. Probably won't change for a while. I'm getting into that mood where I just want to do more of the same.
There you go.
But also, I guess I could kind of mention my girlfriend's been playing Nier Automata, and she just beat the game tonight actually.
Nice.
The first ending though, I don't know how much. This isn't really too much spoiler, but
I
beating
know
it
you
once,
have to replay it like 6 times or something.
No, it's not
Yeah.
that many. It's not that many. There are 26 endings,
Whoa.
but only there's, let's say, you can count on one hand how many endings you actually have to beat to get the final ending.
Okay.
Gotcha.
And she beat it once, so I don't
Okay.
know
There
if
you go.
she's gonna. I'm hoping she actually gets through the other endings, but we'll see.
Yeah.
But anyway,
I hear
that's
it's
been
actually
my
pretty
week.
fun to go through it the next couple times. I don't know how it makes it fun, but apparently it's not. It's not so bad.
It's a new. It adds to the story. It's basically you think you're just playing the game again, but they add a lot to it the second and then next time.
Okay.
So yeah, that's been my week though. So Lotus Prince, how have you been doing, sir?
Fine, thanks. So Vice. Now, I actually have multiple things to bring up for once. Usually, I'm the one with like one or two things, but this time I've actually been kind of moving around with a couple of things here. So
Yeah, you're quite the mover and shaker.
yeah, that's me. That's the first thing I think of when I bring me up. But the first thing's a quickie.
Stick around, kid.
The first thing is just a quickie. I had brought up limited run games last time, but I'm gonna bring them up again this time because they had a game for sale. I actually don't remember how long it's been. It's been a very, very long time. But they had a physical version of Skullgirls for the PS4 up, and I forgot if also Vita. But in any case, I'd ordered the PS4 anyway. And, but due to some, I don't remember what it was, but due to some legal shenanigans, they were getting held up in actually producing the thing and getting it released. I think it was also for Vita too, because they had some updates with that. And, you know, that every once in a while they would pop up on Twitter like, hey guys, don't worry, we're actually working on it. It's just taking freaking forever. And, like, it's been months and months. I forgot if it's been over a year. I don't know if it's been quite that long, but it's been, like, an insanely long time. But they finally got through whatever it was they needed to with permissions or how the game is made or how labeled or whatever it was. They finally got through it, and they finally shipped it out. So I received Skullgirls like a couple days ago. So I was like, oh,
Nice.
It's actually here. So that's kind of cool. So I look forward to actually giving that game a shot. I'm not big on the fighting game stuff, but like that game looks fascinating with its animation. And of course, I'm a sucker for anything that has any JoJo nods in it. And like the creepy evil nurse like Valentine is very Dio from the Capcom like Dreamcast PS1 JoJo fighting game. So I'm a sucker for that. That was it for that. Now I had given for a different change of subject, I had given a couple of nods to the anime Made in Abyss, which I had watched with Mr. Ryu. That's the anime where you go into this abyss. There's like this giant crater in the middle of the world, and like let's see what's at the bottom. People are just drawn to it. And I finished season 1 with Mr. Ryu, finally. We had seen episodes 1 through 7 before, and we just binged the last 6 episodes when I went over to his place. At this point, there's only one season out. The manga's considerably further in, and season 1 kind of just came out, so you know it'll be a while before season 2. It didn't end on a horrible cliffhanger or anything. It's one of those, like, you know, oh, it looks like we actually found somebody and we've made a new friend and like, okay, we can move along with this. So it has a satisfying enough ending for a season. I would like to see more, but it's not like, oh, I can't believe they left me with this. But at the same time, though, man, that show does not mess around. It's like, I remember when I had said when we first started watching that, it looks like, oh, this looks like a fun show, but man, this thing gets serious real quick. Like, I'd already brought it up the second time I talked about it, but this third time, like for context, I had mentioned that the further down you go into the abyss, the less likely it is that you're coming back up, or at least the worst symptoms you'll have coming back up. Like, when you go to, like, the third layer, again, you could go as far down as you like and experience nothing, but it's when you come back up. Like, when you start going up from the third layer, you experience dizziness and, like, hallucinations, visual and auditory. Like, it really messes with you, and there's, like, vomiting and everything. Well, episode 10 sure was interesting, because they went down to the fourth layer, and they did not intend to go back up, but, like, every time you run into any creature in the abyss, it's, like, worse than the last one. And even on layers 1 and 2, there are, like, giant dragon-like things that you just can't really deal with. So they ran into this really large creature, like, bristling with spines, which are also apparently poisonous. And, like...
Figures.
There are potential cures for it, but, like... Do you have that shit on you? It's like, I remember reading a Cracked article about the most poisonous animals on Earth, and the descriptions were like, what does this poison do to you? Like, horrible symptoms. Is there a cure? Yes or no? And, like, the number one creature was like, yes, there is a cure. But it's like the Portuguese...
You need, like, 3 minutes.
It's like the Portuguese man of war, and it's like, it kills you in 3 minutes, you're in the middle of the fucking ocean, you got the cure on you? Like, no, you don't. Let's be realistic, you don't. So it's like that. This poison hit the main character, and they're like, I don't know what to do about this. So they're like, well, we are on the fourth layer, maybe if we just take you up, the horrible, horrible symptoms that affect you might expel the poison as a side effect. Because when you start going up, like, this is stuff that adults really don't like at all. That's why they don't like coming up from the fourth layer. But it could kill a kid. And the main characters are kids. And, like, when you get brought up from the fourth layer, you start, like, expelling blood from, like, every orifice. It's like, oh, good. So, like... That shit
used it as a medicinal, like... They
were like that's the best we got. Like, that's the best we got. And, like,
wow.
and no, by the way, that was not the cure. That was, like, putting death off for a few more minutes. So, like, there was this horrible, like, brutal sequence where it's like, this person gets stabbed in the hand, and it starts swelling up to, like, the point where it looked just disgusting. And so, like... So blood's coming out of everywhere, and it's like, we're gonna need to cut the hand off, otherwise this is gonna kill you for sure. So there's this awful scene where it's like, you're gonna have to, like, like, break my arm and then cut off my hand. It's like, I won't tell you how far they actually go with it, but it's this extended, really uncomfortable to watch sequence. Like, I was, like, fidgeting in the chair the whole time, and, like, for God's sake, could this please be over? And once they got through that stuff, this new character swoops in, and they're like, I think I have a way to deal with this that's not that horrible way that you've already begun. So, episodes 11 and 12 were kind of like recovery from episode 10 and getting to know this new character. And then we get to episode 13, which is the last one in the season, and we're about to start, and Mr. Ryu's like, oh, by the way, Lotus, this one, just letting you know, this is a heavy episode. And I was like, wait, you had nothing to say about episode 10 that I was, like, miserable through. And, like, and this you feel you need to warn me about. Like, oh boy, here we go. And sure enough, episode 13 wasn't gross like that, but, like, there was like a thing from the new character's past that had to be resolved that was just the worst. And, like, he was right to warn me. Like, god damn, like, that was such, like, these two episodes we're watching in rapid succession, like 10, 11, 12, 13, like, oh my, it was such a rough sit. But I gotta say, Made in Abyss is fantastic, and I do eagerly wait for more. I just gotta remind myself to, like, brace myself at any given time, because you never know when shit's gonna go horribly south, because that show does not skimp on bad things happening to, like, our 10 to 12-year-old characters. Like, it's freaking terrible.
I mean, on the other hand, though, I always had, like, 10 years to all anime characters for the story to actually make sense. Like, think of Gundam, all the characters are teenagers. Think of
No, but it's not
RPGs.
even that. Like, the main, like, there's the main characters are a boy and a girl, and the boy kind of gets a free pass because he's, like, part machine in some way, where, like, he's not this badass that can fight everything. He's got, like, a super blast cannon, but if he uses it, he goes unconscious to recharge for 2 hours, so he really should not be using that, because that just leaves the other character vulnerable for 2 hours, and she cannot deal with these beasts. So, like, this is not Gundam where, like, 13-year-olds are, like, running a corporation or something. Like, they're really not properly equipped for this, but they're really intent on going down. Like, it's not good. Like, there's a part where they run into an adult and they're like, clearly I'm the crazy one because there's no way I see kids here. Not this deep. There's no fucking way. Like, it's like that. So, yeah, like, anytime they get through a really bad situation, it's because someone else happened to be around, and they're like, wow, you shouldn't be doing this. So, like, they're kind of getting lucky breaks each time, even though it involved getting horribly unlucky to get to that point. Like, oh, good thing that person was here to stop you from your insanely painful, poison, arm-breaking, cutting-off situation. It's just like, you know, it's lucky in the sense of the man who was hit 10 times by lightning and lived is lucky. It's like, yeah, but he got fucking hit 10 times by lightning. Like, what do you want? But so Made in Abyss, great stuff. The other things I'll get through a little more quickly. One, I think, this is actually another limited run game that I played, otherwise I wouldn't have heard about it, but Mitsurugi Kamui Hikae. Have you heard of that one?
No, I have not.
It's about the guy in Soul Calibur, right?
Yeah, that's the only Mitsurugi out there, so you are correct.
Yeah. That's what every Mitsurugi thing is a reference to.
It's either that or
Yes,
Hiten
he was the
Mitsurugi
first
style from
Mitsurugi.
Kenshin. Yes, that's the only. But no, in any case, it is an anime about sword fighting, or a game about sword fighting. But the thing is,
sure.
with limited run games, like, you know, it's cool to get a physical release of this, but like, with this one felt like something that would have been a digital only title. It just comes, I don't know how much it costs, but it comes off to me as just kind of like a cheaper digital, like, Steam PSN release. It's really mediocre. Like, from screenshots, it's just like, this looks pretty cool, and if you watch like a video that's like a minute or two long, you'd be like, okay, I think I get the idea. But then you realize that that's the whole game, and it's just like, oh. Like, basically what you do is you kill waves of enemies that literally says wave 1, wave 2, up through wave 5, and then a boss shows up, and then you get a really brief cutscene, and then you're beamed to another arena. Like, you don't really run around a town or anything, you just beam to an arena, and you deal with waves of enemies until the boss comes up. It's very basic. You can upgrade your techniques and learn new moves and stuff, but, like, that's the game. You know, once you beat level 1, with the exception of one unique enemy type per level, you've seen it. You get the idea. So it's like, if you want to play it for a few minutes, go for it, but I don't know if I'd recommend a full-on purchase unless it's really cheap or something. It's like, it's not a bad game, but it's extremely whatever. You know, like, it's like, okay, I see. And then even when you beat the game, it's just like, you get the option just restart. It's just like, if you save, you get a new game plus situation, but it's just like, you beat the game, restart instead of continue. It just feels kind of basic in that sense, like with the, I don't know what you call it, the UI, I guess, but yeah. it just feels like this. So it's like, it's okay.
Does it feel like the Simple series games, kind of?
I don't know.
Like, have you ever played what is it, Zombie Ambulance, or One-Chanbara, or the old
I see what you mean.
Defense Force, the
Earth
original
Defense Force games, like the original
yeah.
ones?
I mean, I guess if you want to link it to like One-Chanbara and that you're running around swinging swords, and One-Chanbara is also pretty basic, but
does it feel cheap?
Well, One-Chanbara feels cheap, but it also has a lot of personality, and Mitsurugi Kamui Hikae, like, really doesn't.
Nah.
Like, again, like, just seriously, just watch a YouTube video of like 15 minutes of gameplay. You'll probably close it out after 2 minutes because it really is the same. Like, it's just like, okay. Like, One-Chanbara has a story, and yes, it's one of the cheap, simple games. It is. But, like, it almost feels like it could be a Suda 51 game with how, like, ridiculous and wacky it is.
Sure.
It's just like, look at this goofy shit. Like, I don't actually have any Onichanbara games, but I have been tempted to buy the PS4 one because it looks hilarious.
I love the way the disc is, like...
Yeah.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
Very,
yeah, but, like, Mitsurugi Kamui Hikae, like, it's more toned down than Onichanbara. It's not like lewd or anything, but like there's just there really isn't much there. It's
Gotcha.
Like, it feels like an actual simple game. It's not like self-aware, like we're one of the simple games. Look at this goofy shit we do in EDF. Like it's just kind of like, you know. And the other two things I'll be quick with. And Vice might have more to say about this himself.
Oh yes.
But
I think we gotta let people experience this for themselves.
We don't want to give away much. But Lazrul of the Tales of Games crew, the guys who made Shut Up and Jam Gaiden, he released like a visual novel. I don't even know if it's a dating sim or not. So far, it looks like a murder mystery.
By those guys?
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
I did not realize that.
Fucker in the Woods with a PH.
Now it makes sense.
Yeah, Fucker in the Woods.
I have a theory about this because I brought this up when we were going through this. I think they changed it to PH because they didn't want to actually have people searching on Google for Fucker in the Woods.
No, probably. Yeah, like online, everything is spelled Fucker with a PH, and the school, even in-game, is spelled a PH. But if you look at the window, like the game window when you've launched it, it's an F, like totally. And I think the README file is as well. By the way, regarding the README file of the game, the first thing you see in it is like the tech support section where there are 2 items that you might have a question about. And the first item is like, I can't run the game. And the solution is, well, right click and try running as administrator, see if that works. And the second item is, this game is a pile of garbage. And the response is, that cannot be fixed. It's like, yes.
I can't wait to play more of this with
the game's goofy as shit with like janky animation and like obviously Photoshop shenanigans that like it's like the next level from Shub and Jam Gaiden. If they ever did like original content that didn't sprite rip, it's just like goofy ass like weird Photoshop deals. It's hilarious.
Now you tell me that whether this is it supposed to be kind of like a promotional item for Barkley 2? Is this?
I
like
don't think so. I think this
really
is
it's just something he made in his spare time.
I think it's his own thing. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It was kind of funny because when they put the trailer up on YouTube, like one of the comments was like, "Oh, is this where all the Shut Up and Jam Gaiden money 2 went?"
Yeah, someone had to say it.
Of course. So Fucker in the Woods, the less said right now, the better, because you got to see it for yourself. But yes, Vice and I started recording it.
It's amazing. I'm looking forward to people watching our LP of it.
And I'll also say this. I showed it to Mr. Ryu after we watched Made in Abyss, and he was like, there were a couple of parts where he was like literally on the floor laughing over it. And Mr.
really
Ryu
good.
laughs at a lot of stuff, but like he does not actually ROFL, and he did like at least twice. Like that was pretty incredible. So Mr. Ryu was on board, and he's never played Shut Up and Jam Gaiden, so I've told him about some of the humor in the game, but now he's actually experienced like this is what the writers of Shut Up and Jam Gaiden like do. Like this is their like weeaboo trash stuff. So
there's lots of Pocky based humor.
Yeah, so I hope he gets more. I hope he gets on Shut Up and Jam Gaiden because he was a fan, and he actually pointed out something about the game that Vice and I did not realize, like about the game's main menu. That actually comes from something. But we'll get into that in the LP itself. The last thing I want to mention is I started recording a Patreon request, my next upcoming Let's Play, which is a PS1 game that now that I've played it, oh man, that has to be a port of a PC release. Like it is on PC, but the PS1 version must be the port because that just looks like an old PC.
An American release?
It is.
Okay.
It was released in America, but it's obscure in America to the point where, it's kind of hard to look up Let's Plays for this game. Like, a bunch of what I found were, like, quick 20-minute one-offs, and I think I found 1 or 2 Let's Plays that beat the game, but this game's got, like 6 endings, and any Let's Plays I've seen that do beat it get, like, an ending, and they're like, alright, I've beaten it. There's only 1 walkthrough I've seen for the game. Like, everything on GameFAQs for Sentient is by the same guy from, like, 1998, 1999, and the stuff is comprehensive. There's, like, an actual walkthrough, a way to get the alternate endings, like a hint guide, a story guide. Like, this one guy really cares, and thank God he does, because without a guide, there is no goddamn way, like, I would have been able to get anywhere. Like, this game is extremely ambitious. Like, this is, like, you'd be surprised that this is a PS1 game. Like, the graphics won't surprise you, but, like, what you have to do and what you're capable of, like, this really comes off as, like, a high-level, almost RPG experience. The game's not... I would not call the game an RPG, but, like, what you do feels like RPG stuff. Talk to people, ask who they are, ask where they're going, ask what is this place. You have like a Maniac Mansion UI, or it's almost like Snatcher, where it's like, ask a question. Okay.
So is it more an adventure game?
I guess, but it's like, what's the question? What? Who? Where? And then you select one of those. Like, what is happening? What is this item? What is pick a room from list? What is pick a person from list? It's like, oh my... So if you want to ask a particular question, it's like, Jesus Christ. And there's like 62 people in the game who actually are people with names who are doing their own thing, and sometimes you run into people running into each other. And, like, there's no speech in the game, except for in the FMV scenes. It's text bubbles. But you'll see people have idle conversations, which I could not believe for a PS1 game. Like, I would not call the game fun. I am not thoroughly enjoying myself playing this game, but, like, so much respect. Like, how do you make this game? Like, this is an achievement. Like... I would not recommend, oh, you gotta play Sentient, but, like, you gotta see Sentient. Like, you gotta see it to believe it. Like, no, like, I cannot believe that this was put together. Like, the stuff you are capable of in the game, you could tell people, lead me to other person, or lead me to room, and they'll do it. But what's even more interesting is that I asked someone to lead me to somebody else before, and they actually took me to the wrong place. And they were like, oh, sorry, I thought they would be here. Like, it's crazy.
Oh, wow.
Like, on one hand, that was frustrating for me in terms of actual navigation, but on the other hand, like, whoa, okay. And there's one part, like, you could tell people to go away if they respect you enough. Excuse me, you're needed elsewhere. They'd be like, okay, they just leave. Like, it's nuts. Like, these people have lives. It's ridiculous. And the basic premise is...
It's almost as if the game is sentient.
Well, there's a reason it's called Sentient, and it's not that. But also, you could change expression in the game. You could look angry and look happy, and you could see other people's expressions too, which, again, PS1, like, they have, like, 4 levels of expression, from very happy to, like, angry and surprised. It's, like, it's nuts. The basic premise is you're on a space station that's... The navigation seems to have gone haywire, because it's, like, slowly going toward, like, a sun, and you're like, well... We don't want that to happen, so I don't know if the game is actually on a timer, or if the time when you actually crash into the sun is kickstarted by a certain story event, but at least some aspect of the game is on a timer, so, like, you gotta get this stuff done. And there are certain things in the game that are time sensitive. One of the first things in the game you have to do is someone tells you, get me this report. And if you get it to her, she'll be like, thanks, but this data's messed up. Could you please get a different report so I can compare the data? And you got to do that. But, like, I was following a walkthrough, but being very slow at navigating because I've never played this game before, and I got the reports late. And if you get them to her late, she's like, oh, thanks, but I was able to do this on my own anyway. And the thing is, I don't know where you would go from there. Because if you get her the stuff on time, she'll be like, oh, thanks, I've increased your clearance. You can go to different floors of the ship. So if you don't do that... It doesn't happen. So it's like, well, how do I advance the game? Like, and again, I'm sure I could eventually figure something out with this game, but without a walkthrough, I am fucked. Like I am, like, reliant on this walkthrough. Like, if certain events, like, I could follow the steps, but if I'm too slow and, like, the triggers don't happen, then, like, I don't know what to do. Like now what? The situation has changed. I got no, like, so again, is Sentient fun? Like, I don't go like, yeah, I'm playing Sentient, but, like, the respect level is through the freaking... Like, I can't believe this game existed at all. Like, this is like a 1996 PC game. That's already impressive. But the fact that they put it on PS1 and made it playable is, like, it blows my mind. It's not even on multiple discs. It's on one disc. Probably because everything's on in text form. But, like, it is crazy. Like, a guy asks you credentials. So, like... select item, or go to the thing where you talk to him, give object to. Select object to give to him. And if you give him the wrong object, you could command give object to you and hope he does. Like, this game's like really, like, it's way up there. It's just like, I don't think a lot of people would have patience for it. That's the thing. And again, without a guide, I would be up the creek. Like, I don't think I would have a clue. Like, I wouldn't even know that there are multiple endings. I'd be like, either you win or you don't. And then this walkthrough exists. Oh, there's 5 alternate endings. Are you kidding me right now? And when you do beat the game, it tells you your score. It doesn't even say it's a maximum. It's just like, you got 55. Is that good? Is this out of 100? I don't freaking know. It's like an adventure game when you wait, like at least King's Quest had the decency to tell you got like 100 out of something, you know? With this, I assume it's out of 100, but like, So anyway, I only have one alternate ending, I guess the game over ending, and then the real ending to get, so I'm going to try for those. The game's actually short if you know what to do, but boy, oh boy, do you not know what to do without help. And I don't think there's a guide either, like an official strategy guide or something. Sure. So, like, again, this Game Facts is like my lifeline. Like, if not for this, I would have nothing. Gotcha. So I can beat the game, but that's, you know, not getting into like the lore with literally every character in the game and like learning what rooms are. So like, what room is this? Why, this is the recreation room. So when you talk to somebody else, the recreation room comes up in your list of things to talk about. Like, where is the recreation room? If you don't know what a room is, then you can't ask about it. So like, I had a hell of a time finding the navigation chamber because I'd never been there, because like only one teleporter takes you there, and I thought they were universal teleporters. They're not. So it took me like an hour to find this basic thing. So Sentient's an interesting game. So yeah, that's not going to be uploaded next. Little Nightmares is, but Little Nightmares is also short, so you'll see Sentient sooner than you think. So that's been my week. How about you, Vice?
Well, I went back from I had to play at least a good chunk of Mario Odyssey. You know, when I first bought it, because I was really excited. And I love it, but what I actually wanted to do was continue on with the games I was playing, so I could actually finish them. So I've been really good lately about starting things or finishing things I've started. So I really want to make some headway in Far Cry 4.
Hey.
I put in a good chunk of time this weekend. And I've actually enjoyed the game the more I've played it. So at this point, I've gotten a lot of the upgrades that I've for hunting, and really the only ones left are the special hunts where you have to find a unique animal in order to make the last level of equipment. And so I think one of the major criticisms I have of the game is actually you can get all of the you can hunt all of the animals that you need for the upgrades almost immediately in the game.
Okay.
Like almost all of the animals are not exotic enough on the map. They are pretty easy to find in the starting area. It doesn't give you much to hunt towards the end of the game. You only unlock the special hunts at certain outposts once you liberate them. So, you know, as with the third game, the most fun that you have with the game is actually is liberating those outposts. I think that is the most fun that Far Cry is. The missions are okay, but the real fun to have is looking at the outpost as a puzzle that you need to be able to get through, and also if you're trying to do it without setting off an alarm or without getting detected at all, that's always a lot of fun. So I think I would enjoy the game even more if I had somebody to co-op with, because I think the game has some really nice hooks in there for co-op, and
what?
I would think that tackling the fortresses in the game, which are kind of like gigantic outposts, are meant really for co-op. They're pretty intricate, and if you try to brute force your way through it, you'll die. You're not going to just go into a fortress and just like shoot everybody, because they will set off an alarm. And
it's like OG Deus Ex.
Once an alarm goes off, helicopters keep coming in with guys.
What?
So, yeah,
oh man! So it's like GoldenEye, like just infinite guys.
Well, it's not infinite, but like in order to stop them, you have to destroy all the alarms.
Yeah.
They just keep coming, and you're gonna run out of bullets.
Well, here's a question. You said it's not infinite, so does it spawn more guys to a point, or does it actually draw people from other parts of the map, so those places are now weaker?
No, I think it just continues to throw. I guess maybe it's. I think it can throw as many helicopters as it can. Each fortress has a number of alarms, and there is if it has 3 alarms, they can send 3 helicopters.
Okay.
But, like you're a lone guy, so like shooting down one helicopter is not exactly easy.
No, but I'm just thinking like I don't know how far away outposts are from each other, but could you just intentionally set off an alarm in one place and run to another area of the map, and now there's nobody there anymore?
Oh no, it's more isolated. Like if the guys in one outpost can call for reinforcements, but they're like generic reinforcements. They're not from somewhere.
Okay. Also, I don't think any
you really
game's
don't
done
want to set up
that
an
yet.
alarm. What was it, Pyro?
I was saying I don't think any game's actually done that. I wonder how that would work as an actual gameplay mechanic. I think it would make the rest of the game like way too easy.
Well, Deus Ex, the original, the Deus Ex games do that. They bring in guys who are there. It's just there aren't 100 guys. They just bring what are there to you. It's just that again, you'll get your ass kicked. Like Deus Ex is not supposed to be a shoot 'em up. Like you could only really turn it into a shoot 'em up like by end game where you've upgraded yourself to the point where you're like stupid and like the enemies are usually proportionally prepared for you because you should have upgraded. But like OG Deus Ex, like someone sends an alarm and like the 2 or 3 guys nearby will also come running, but that's bad for you because you have god awful equipment at the time.
Yeah, I really am enjoying it, and it even says on the map that you should only tackle a fortress if you have like a lot of the really good signature weaponry. You're further in the game, so you have more health slots. Like you're fully loaded up with with syringes, which are your health items, and
like in Bloodborne.
Yeah,
it's like stick your leg. Keep going.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. And you should probably be doing it with a co-op partner. So it says very hard.
Do you share needles with your co-op partner?
Yeah, you don't want to do that.
Yeah. No, it's more
never
like
share needles that you use for tattooing, which is actually like a big thing in Far Cry.
They're one-use EpiPen kind of thing.
Yeah.
So you have allergies.
Yes, exactly.
When the enemies shoot you, they shoot you with sneeze bullets.
You have to pay an exorbitant price for them. Anyway,
American version only.
Yeah, no. It's
in Canada they're free.
Yeah.
All right. But it's a better game the more and more I play it. I still don't know whether I want to play more in the series because it's only an incremental improvement over 3. It's not really a different game. Like you could skip 3 entirely, and not and just play 4.
Sure.
And even I would say that the story and characters are more fun in 3. Maybe the gameplay is marginally better in 4, but like the overall package in 3 is better.
Sure.
And why not just play Blood Dragon, which is the best of
Blood Dragon, even though I'm not even into the Far Cry games, Blood Dragon is the best game ever made.
Yeah, no, it's great. I probably won't play Primal at all.
I heard that Primal literally copied and pasted, I want to say 4's map.
I'm sure it is, but like it's supposed to be like the hard version. Like you don't have like an on-screen map or anything. So
yeah, it's Metal Gear Solid 3. Like it's Primal.
Yeah, I'm all right.
You don't have a laser sight.
I'm kind of waiting to hear what they're gonna be doing different with 5, but if it's the same kind of structure, then I'm
you
just not,
get the idea.
Yeah, like I don't need to play it. So I would like to play 4 with somebody, but you know, I don't think it's gonna happen because I don't know anybody who plays it, and it still needs to play it, that kind of thing. So who knows?
Yeah.
But I played a little bit more Metroid: Samus Returns, and it's kind of the opposite of Far Cry. My sentiments towards it, like it's less and less growing on me.
Oh wow!
Like, it's probably my least favorite Metroid game that I've played.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Even more so than Other M.
See, I've never played Other M, so I can't judge it.
The thing with Other M is that every single time somebody talks about it, it's how utterly shit the story is. But from what I've heard, the gameplay is actually pretty good. Like,
yeah,
it's like if you just if you skip every cutscene and just play the game, I think you're gonna have a good time.
There are some apologists of the game right now, so
and they're all wrong. But
yeah, I'm sure I will get to playing that one because I've played and beaten like every Metroid game basically in one form or another. Like, you know, I beat the original through Zero mission, but like the only one that I haven't beaten is, well, I haven't beaten Hunters, but like who cares? And
Federation Force.
I have Federation Force, and I've been playing that a little bit.
Okay.
I actually think that game gets a bad rap because, like, I don't think anybody gave it a chance. It's actually pretty fun.
Was Hunters the DS one?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. But this one just feels like it feels too generic.
Okay.
And I've played a lot of better Metroidvania games, and this one is low on my list.
I heard that a big problem was that there's very little enemy variety. And I know it's Metroid 2, but the thing with Metroid 2 was that it was on the original Game Boy. Like, what do you want? But, like, in 2017...
Well, I didn't have the same complaint about AM2R.
Apparently they, like, went crazy. But apparently in Metroid 2, it's, like, the same Metroid, except this is a lava one and that's an ice one or whatever.
Well, that's not the issue. It's the mooks that's the issue. Like,
okay.
I fully well know. Actually, the Metroids are like the bright point because they actually vary up the sub genuses.
Oh, that's good.
So there are different versions of the beta Metroids, for instance.
Okay.
There's different versions of the gamma Metroids. Like, they have different elements.
That's interesting.
Yeah, those that's a cool part. It's the mooks that's the problem. There's like 3 enemies in the entire game.
Oh, and considering that the Metroid games are all about, like, it's like more about the levels than the bosses. Like, you get to a boss and you're like, oh, okay, but like most of the game you're wandering through corridors.
Yeah, I'm just getting like it's just. It needs to be better. And I guess I should have seen it because Mercury Steam made like one of the worst Metroidvania Castlevania games. They made the spin-off for the 3DS, which was a Mirror of Fate.
Was that the thing that like kind of tied in with Lords of Shadow?
Yes.
And I think it even comes with the later releases of Lords of Shadow.
Yeah, and I mean, like, a lot of people consider that to be the worst of the 2D Metroidvania ones, and it doesn't even come close to the Japanese ones, and it's a shame. Even the worst of them, which is probably, some people say either Circle the Moon or Harmony of Dissonance. Those games are actually good.
Yeah, they still have personality.
Even they're maybe the worst of them, but it's like the worst.
Yeah, they were
the least
good.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're not bad. But it's like I said, I'm gonna beat it, but but
you won't like it.
Yeah. And then the other thing I did this week was I was tinkering with a lot of old PC releases and getting them to work on my computer. I've been on a kick lately to try to acquire games that aren't on Steam or GOG.
Yeah. And
getting them to work on my PC, just to have them and just in case I want to play them.
That can be a pain if you need, like, because DOSBox will solve a lot of your problems, but that can be a real problem though if you need like older versions of Windows. You gotta like emulate older versions of Windows.
Yeah, well, no, the games that I'm talking about are like post DOS. They're not DOS games. So
exactly, that's what makes it so hard. Like 1996, it's just like, oh boy.
Yeah. A lot of these are like early 2000s games. So in particular, these two are Monolith Soft games, and hence why they're having rights issues. A lot of those Monolith Soft games are notoriously caught up in like legal issues. So
you know what? If they can solve System Shock 2's legal issues, which was actually impossible, and they did it anyway, then they can do this.
Well, so the same company tried to release one of these games, and it was No One Lives Forever 2.
No, I know you mentioned that, but I mean, like, System Shock 2 was like a three-way battle of like who even owns the thing, and it's just like, what? And Night Dive somehow made it happen, so you never know.
Yeah, you never know if it might come out sooner or later, but I didn't want to rely on that because I think I want to play those games soon. So I got both No One Lives Forever games running and running well, and Alien vs Predator 2. I like the
Requiem.
Alien vs. What's that?
Requiem.
Oh, fuck that. I love the Aliens franchise and the Predator franchise. I actually like both of them. I don't like the AVP franchise, which is kind of funny.
I like the first one well enough, even though it's PG-13. But otherwise, I would say the Predator franchise at this point beats the pants off of the Alien ones, because like Alien just kept releasing more and more movies that were mediocre, if you were lucky.
I would actually say that there's only one bad Alien movie, and that would be Alien 4.
A lot of
Resurrection? And there are parts of it that I like.
I haven't seen... Well, I like Resurrection all right, although it's definitely weaker than 1 and 2. I haven't seen 3, but I heard that 3 was the black sheep of the series.
It's probably... 3 is the least interesting.
Okay.
So it doesn't really have its own personality, which is unfortunate because it was one of the heavily marketed entries in the series. Like, when I was a kid, that movie was all over the freaking place. Like, there were toys, there was everything. Like, it was the shit. Like, there were video games. It was quite a good, quite a great Metroidvania. Based on it. This is probably the only good LJN game that you could speak of for the Super Nintendo.
Spider-Man Maximum Carnage. It was good. It was good. It was long and it got tired, but it was good. It played well. But
they also made this the company that made that also made the Tick, which I liked.
But for Alien movies, Prometheus was like generally hit or miss. It's got its fans, although it was rather divisive. I know you like it. Apparently, it was a very divisive movie. But I haven't seen it or Covenant, but I heard people really were not big on Covenant.
I need to watch it. I don't trust people's opinion about Prometheus. I think people hate on it because it's fun to hate on it. I don't. I actually like that movie. I need to rewatch it, but when I saw it in the theater, I actually enjoyed it, and like I was like, what is everybody complaining about? Like, it's a really nice homage to the first movie.
The main thing I heard about was just, it was like, I would say it's a comedy of errors, but there were no jokes. It's just like bad decisions after, like in the first Alien movie, they made what they thought, like they made decisions that made sense. It's just like, too bad, this alien's unstoppable. But in Prometheus, everyone's like an idiot.
Well, not entirely. I would argue that in the original, Ripley's the only one who's logical, whereas everybody else is emotional.
That is true, but they're not making decisions like, we just landed on an alien planet, let's take our helmets off and walk outside, or like there's this horrible destroyed dead body with this creepy liquid on it, let's go up to it. It's like, come on.
That's kind of like, I just watched Annabelle Creation a few weeks ago, and I felt the same way. Like, we were rooting for the ghost because these people were acting like idiots. Like, oh, that room's haunted. Let's go in there. And
it's like every slasher movie. You have like the first Friday the 13th movie is terrifying, and every movie after that, you're rooting for Jason.
I just saw the ghost. Let me just come in here. Let me shoot it with a ping pong ball.
What?
Like, they did that in the movie, and it's like, are you?
Was it a holy ping pong ball?
So anyway, I like the AVP franchise outside of the movies. Let's just put it that way. And like the comic books. I like a lot of the stuffs. But I eventually want to play through all the PC games So that's Alien versus Predator.
Oh.
Alien versus Predator 2, and then there's another one just called Alien versus Predator. Like, there's like a third game just called like the same thing that the first game's called.
Actually, actual serious question. The game on the Jaguar, was that ported to other? Was that on PC as well?
No, so
because like I heard that game was just real quick. I heard that game was actually pretty good, and also terrifying because you don't hear. It's kind of like because of a limitation. You don't hear the alien's footsteps ever. So like, all of a sudden you're taking damage, and you're like, what? And you turn around, and an alien's just like up your ass, and you had no idea it was coming.
So technically, Rebellion made the Jaguar game first. And then Rebellion made the first PC game. So the first PC game's kind of a sequel to the Jaguar game.
Okay.
So that makes actually 3 games called Alien versus Predator. Like there's the first one for the Jaguar, then there's the first one for the PC, and then the third one for the PC.
Which wasn't one of them also on PS2?
So PS2 has a different game that's called Alien versus Predator.
For God's sake.
Extinction, I think. So that one is a real-time strategy game. It is not one of the first-person shooter games.
Okay.
So it's unrelated.
All right. Oh, so, and you got to play Predator Concrete Jungle on PS2 as well.
No, I don't.
Yeah, I heard it was not very good. I don't even know why.
And it's like, that's an adaptation of the second movie, I think.
Yeah, anyway, which, by the way, was good. Like, I gotta say,
I like that movie.
Yeah, I went in the second movie thinking it's gonna be bad. Arnold Schwarzenegger's gone. They're not even in a jungle anymore. That movie is really good. And then Predators came out like 15 years.
I actually like Predators a lot too.
Yeah, Predators came out 15 years later, and I'm like, I'm always afraid of movies that are like, let's go back to that series no one thought about for over a decade. Like, I'll make a good one. But they actually did. It's fantastic. I was like, all right.
So, yeah, I got that running, and everything's good. And I even got it working with a widescreen hack, which is great. So, things are good in that realm, trying to get things running and all that stuff. The last one that I got running, which I was glad. So the sequel to this recently got released, which is called Chaos Head. This is the first game in the Science Adventure series, which Steins Gate is a part of.
Yes, Chaos Head, Steins Gate. I've heard of this one. I actually downloaded this game a long time ago, but I never tried it. And I heard it was fantastic.
So the reason why I downloaded this was that the sequel came out, just got released on PS4. It's called Chaos Child. So this is a visual novel that just got released that is a sequel and never got the first one officially released in the United States.
I love when that happens.
It's frustrating. Well, it's like Namco, like Project Cross Zone. Like that was a sequel the whole time. We just never got now. Like, who are those main characters? The original creations. Oh, well, you're supposed to already know. They're from Namco Cross Capcom. It's like, what? Come on.
Yeah, and they're also characters from the OG series of Super Robot Wars. Anyway.
Jesus.
Yeah, so
of which we got like one game.
They had their own game after that.
Yeah.
That came out in the US though.
Okay.
But anyway, Chaos Child. I got that running with a fan translation.
Chaos Head, you mean?
Chaos Head. I'm sorry.
Yes.
I got that running with a fan translation, so I was very happy to at least get that up. I am a little disappointed that we are still missing in English one of the major games in the series, which is Robotics Notes. That has not come out in the US, so I might have to just watch the anime. I'm sure that's translated, but
yeah. Although the thing with that is, though, I mean, I know nothing about that one, but what Mr. Ryu told me, like, the Steins Gate anime is nowhere nearly as comprehensive as the game. And the good news is I loved the anime, but apparently the game is just a whole other level.
Yeah, I'm sure about that, but I want to experience it in some form or another.
Yeah,
you know, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Pretty much. If Robotics Notes has an anime, I'm sure it does. All of them do.
Okay, yeah, that's right. I forgot about that. Chaos Head does too. I forgot. Yeah.
Yeah, no, they all do. So I I want to at least experience it in some way. So I'm gonna start playing through all those. Once I get in the kick to do that. But I'll start from the beginning and play Chaos Head and then Steins Gate. Steins Gate's the second.
Okay.
Yeah, I would like to look into, like, I've had Chaos Head recommended to me years ago, and I never actually tried it. Like, I downloaded it so I could say, like, okay, well, I got it now, at least. But, yeah, I need to try it.
I should also say that, I'm, like Lotus, we kind of like playing things in order, but we don't really need to play them like that. All the games are technically unrelated other than in theme and design.
Yeah.
So they don't have crossover characters or anything like that. The Chaos games are both related. Obviously, the Steins Gate games are both related.
Yeah, Steins Gate 0 is related to Steins Gate. Yeah.
Yeah, it's Steins Gate 0 is the sequel. So, but I did want to point out that I'm only doing that because I'm crazy. But,
yeah.
And real quick, just to finish up, what I'm going to be playing next, I've decided. I'm going to finish up with Mario Odyssey. I'm going to continue playing that.
Good.
And I'm finally going to take the plunge and play Horizon Zero Dawn, because apparently the expansion just got released, and it's really awesome. From what I understand.
I'm upset that it came out, because I have so many other games to play, and I loved Horizon. And I want to go back and play the expansion, but I need to find time to do that.
Yeah, see, with me, I have the opposite situation. Like, I never got on the game. And, like, now when I do, I'll get the whole thing. Like, it's like Resident Evil 7. I've been wanting to play it, and I never did. And it's been out forever now. And now they're finally releasing, the gold edition with all the DLC. I'm like, well, I'll get that. Great.
I'm really excited. I'm always really excited when I've played the game and all the DLC is already out, because I kind of hate going back. Each game handles how you access the DLC differently. Like, sometimes it's kind of like a separate thing altogether, kind of like Human Revolution, where it doesn't really matter whether you've played like the original portion or not. It's just like a separate, like almost standalone game.
Yeah. That was Missing Link. Yeah,
Missing Link. So, or with BioShock 2, Minerva's Den is kind of like its own separate game.
But like with Dark Souls, you could go back and get it, but it's like this weird thing in the middle of the game. But like what bugs me about DLC, though, depending on the context, is that I think we might have even talked about this on the podcast before, but like, I played this game as soon as it came out and I beat it. Boy, was I happy. And then the DLC comes out like 6 months later, and it's like a mid to late game DLC, and you're just not good at the game anymore. And you're like, I'm going to play the DLC now. And you just get your ass kicked. And you're like, like Dark Souls DLC is insanely hard. Like, if I had been like, oh, DLC, let me try it, like, I would get destroyed.
The worst was Mass Effect 3, when apparently like all the DLC is great, and I played through half of them. But like, they released because I was so amped to play that game, I played it and beat it, right?
Yeah.
And like, it always returns you to that state just before, finishing the game.
Yeah, the last possible save point. Yeah,
exactly, to where you can access the DLC. And I just like never went back and played it all, because I'm like, I'm done with this game. Like, so I'm glad that the full game is ready there for me to enjoy.
Yeah, and that's how I feel about the Burial at Sea BioShock Infinite stuff.
Yeah.
I hear that stuff's amazing, and like, I just never got enough of an itch to go back and look. Like I beat the game. I had my fun.
Yeah, I have the same problem with Burial at Sea, because I wanted to play that too, and just have never gone back and played it.
Yeah.
So anyway, I do want to wrap up here. We got a time for a question here.
Yeah, we might have to do 2 questions, because one of them I get the feeling is going to go by real quick, and I don't think you're going to have a good time with it. So the Scully343 asks, what is your favorite Silent Hill soundtrack as far as its ambient horror music is concerned? Like, maybe not to listen to in the car or something, but like for actual ambience for the video game. Do you guys have any thoughts on this?
I really like Threes.
Yeah, I've
really never played any of them.
That's
long
kind of what I
enough for me
figured.
to pick a song.
I would for horror. Yeah, I would probably go with I would probably go with 2 or 3. 2 has a lot of like machine and grindy sounds that like almost don't count as music. Like, you really could not listen to this by yourself. It's like, what? Like, in the game, it makes more sense. It's more ambient noise than music. So if you want to stick with stick with straight music, I probably would go with 3, but 2 and 3 are both really good at what they do. The problem is, I've only played Origins, Homecoming, Shadow Memories, and Downpour once each, so I really can't talk to you about their soundtracks, even if they did have good ones. I just don't remember. Like, and even ones, I don't really have a sense for, and I think one was... I don't even remember music from 1 outside of, like, the opening and ending themes or whatever. I think 2, 3, and 4 were kind of, like, where it's at. But yeah. I only really have a sense of 2 and 3, so, like... I know for a fact that, like, especially Homecoming and Downpour had more music going on. I just don't remember what a lot of it was. Except Downpour had a lot of, like, licensed thematic music. Like, I remember there's some Louis Armstrong in there, and there was, like, music by Korn that I felt worked, but, like, I don't remember what a lot of it was. So I can only really talk about 2 or 3 in any context. So, like, that's the best I got. But the other question we could actually talk about... Fakafon asks, what kind of video game progression gives you the most satisfaction? Leveling up, completing a stage, gaining new items, etc.?
This is a good question. I actually really like Metroidvanias because of this.
Yeah.
I really love getting that item that will allow you to traverse a thing that's been blocking you the whole time.
Yeah, you finally got the blue key card.
Yeah. It's like, okay, finally I can go through this door that like, every time I encounter it, it's just pissing me off. It just taunts
you, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I was going to say, I have the same answer. When I was looking at this question earlier, I immediately thought of, for me, was leveling up, because I love RPGs. Mm-hmm. But honestly, leveling up by itself is bland, because you don't feel like you're getting stronger, because enemies are probably leveling with you. But I agree with gaining new items, and I think that's why I like the Diablo games and the Metroidvanias, because you actually feel like you're improving, and there's like not a physical thing, but there's like meaning to your improvement other than just, hey, I gained a level.
Yeah, and Zelda games are like that too, I might add.
Yeah.
Zelda has a similar kind of component. So gaining a new ability when you were extremely hampered before, like something as simple as a double jump.
Yeah,
that's
where I was gonna go, like a new fighting move, or like the ability to blow up that wall when you didn't have bombs before. I do like that feeling. I would also this is more for specific games, but I've mentioned this for Skies of Arcadia. I also like the feeling that you're becoming more of a person that matters as the game progresses. But also for something like the Souls series, I don't know if I necessarily like it as much as getting a new item that makes the game more playable. If you start a new game, you'd be like, how did I manage without it? But with Dark Souls, there's also that feeling when you get to an area that unlocks like a shortcut back to where you were. So if you die, you can get to the new area quicker. All of a sudden, it's like it's not like, yeah, I feel cool, but it's really more like number one, it's +1 respect for level design. But also, like, oh, thank God, like, now if I die, I can just go there. Like, there's a cool feeling that now I can get to that area easily. So it's, like, almost like the Metroidvania style of gameplay. Instead of I can unlock that new area, it's I can get to that area I was at in a minute instead of 10 minutes. So that's also nice. So,
and that's another thing. I also like the way that you improve in the Doom games, the new Doom game, 2016. So you get new abilities, or your weapons improve by you doing specific actions.
Yeah.
And I think that is so much fun.
Yeah, BioShock 2 does that too. Like, take pictures of this type of enemy to do better against it, and like, this enemy is weak against this weapon, so you probably are going to want to use that weapon.
Yeah, but Doom is much more fun about it. It's
Doom is more real with it. Like, do use 10 headshots with the pistol, and you'll get a new thing. Yeah, so it actually encourages use of the various weapon. Not to mention, the upgrades you can buy are stuff that you wouldn't even have expected. It's like, this machine gun also has seeker rockets now. What? like weird little things like that, where it's like, I can do this now? Okay.
So yeah, I like doing an action in order to unlock something that's why I like hunting in Tomb Raider and Far Cry, because like it unlocks new satchels and new equipment.
Yeah, like normally games do this for like achievements. Like
I don't care about
kill 50 enemies and get an achievement, but with an
care about
in-game
that.
accomplishment, you get like a more real reward, which is pretty great.
Yeah, I like unlocking things I can actually use in the game and make the game easier. So that's pretty much all I have to say about this one. How about you guys? Any final thoughts on that?
No, not really.
Not yet.
Okay.
I would agree with you guys with the item leveling up. Again, getting a reputation like Vice in Skies of Arcadia, I do like that, but that's not a general video game thing. It really isn't. Like, Fire Emblem Radiant Dawn has that as plot progression, or Path of Radiance has that as plot progression. You go from some guy to, like, commanding an army. Like, that. It feels good, but there aren't too many games like that. Yeah, Suikoden, yeah.
Yeah, gotcha. All right, well, that's the show for this week. We want to thank our fans who contributed questions. Please keep us supplied with awesome topics by submitting questions of your own on the YouTube and SoundCloud pages. While there, please give us thumbs ups, likes, and 5-star ratings on iTunes. It helps us promote and spread awareness of the show, and any bit of encouragement helps keep the show going. You can also catch us on Thursdays on our sister podcast, Corrective Consciousness, the in-depth podcast about this week in our lives. Finally, you can friend me as VyseTheBold on Steam, PSN, Xbox Live, and Twitter.
And you can follow me on my YouTube channel, Lotus Prince. You can hit me up on Twitter at Lotus Prince. And if you're interested in seeing my videos early, getting in on exclusive live streams, or even selecting upcoming games for me to Let's Play, then maybe consider swinging by my Patreon, which can be found at patreon.com/LotusPrince.
And you can find me as PyroJackFrost and Cloud08540 on BattleNet, PSN, and other places too, probably.
Yes.
All right. Well, that's the end of our 69 session. We'll catch you later.
I get it. Until next time, everyone.
Good night.
Bye.